So like 12 last week, we saw a little recorded thing and talked about custom query templates in the future for Mike to allow for custom Elasticsearch queries, templated queries into the 12/19 2023. Do we have demos? And we have topics. And we have a status. Let's see how much work was done last week. So module 1, I don't think which we actually done. Nope. Module 4. 12/12. 12/12. This one. Upgrade the SQL to 4.0 beta 3. That's the one with all the async stuff. Exception. All right. Oops. Okay. Update the FileInfo extensions. Static FileInfo extension, single file. Yeah, I don't see much, just one file. What's the name? File namespace. What's the name of the feature? File namespace. It's here, exception message. Okay. And you found a bunch of them. Yeah, that's the name of the argument, and that's the thing. Join. Yeah, I was right. Expansion. Yeah. Okay. And there. Okay. Mock 420. Isham said we could use that version. Markdig release libraries now fixed FormatException. When the login screen is posted with value over. Okay, so useless. Startup. If pooling model boundary provider. This is so this one was one of the first lines we worked in Connect for. And I made this one as kind of not a joke, but for fun, just to see if it was working. And what this one is doing is if you provide a check mark in the query string value of the bool, then it will be evaluated as true. So what is this one doing?
See the default binder in Microsoft. If you provide unknown value, it'll throw an exception, which is strange. Why would it just throw an exception? It's either true or false. And so this is his workaround of saying, we don't want to throw an exception. We're just going to return a false.
Okay. Well, it's just to prevent false positives, like you think the user explicitly slide false, but it was true with a typo, and then you assume it's false. But like I don't know, it's better to be explicit. I actually don't want to take a decision where it wasn't supposed to take a decision, like why false, why not true. What? That's bad. That's very bad. That could be bad. The looking screen any non-Boolean value. Do we care? So, do we care to intercept every Boolean member that is passed to something to model binder? And then, okay, this is just when it's wrong, then we display the result of the thing instead of following exception. But what's the problem here? Like, I can find you a million ways to trigger an exception by just providing wrongful data in a query, in a post, in a GET, in any request.
Yep, I agree. And that he had a workaround in his original PR, and I was like, do we really need to put a binder for absolutely every single data type, because somebody can put string instead of a date time and then we'll have an exception.
Mhm.
I had the same argument, but this was the path to me. This was the path of least resistance. Instead of actually trying to put a workaround inside the login page just to try to avoid that, which is
because yeah, I mean, we want to ignore the. I mean, yeah, I know that just because they have too much login because of their zap attacks or whatever. I mean, just disable the logging for that thing if you have too much log. Okay, so that's it. Set items in the ShapeViewModel to prevent exceptions. I see something we reviewed last week. A problem Tuesday. When I said don't initialize here, where was that? Oh, is it the one I commented on? It was always initialized. So this one is good, this one is good, this one is good. Everything is good here. Okay. But what is that fixing here?
The fix is, I can't see the lines, but there's we set the items before during the get. You see online right there where we set on 61, I think.
Same thing. So the same.
So that's good, correct. So right there is where we set
Here.
items.
This is what.
So if you go scroll down,
that's the one. Yeah.
Yep, that's the one right
okay,
there.
good.
That adds up.
Lazy initialization of that thing. Good. Support async in IShapeTableProvider. That was a quick review because straightforward change, just having async everywhere and marking one as obsolete. Removing the ping on startup. Is it removing the ping on startup? Or is it multi-async?
What was the question?
Yeah. The question was, sorry, I understood what was the question. The question was, is it removing the ping or making it async? It's making it async.
No, it's adding a sync method, and to prevent a breaking change, there's a base class that was added, so it just makes it a little bit easier. So like no one's gonna get a warning, or they're not gonna get a code. They're not gonna have a breaking change. So it's there's two methods. There's that the build, or whatever that method is, describe and describe async.
Okay. Migrate the OpenIddict to 5. I learned something about immutable arrays and collections. And nobody in the team knew about it. So please, nobody knows about these things. Where is that? I find an example here. OpenID scopes. I will teach you something pretty sure nobody knows, because even in the tech team, people didn't know about that. OpenID scopes. What is that? Scripted CS, maybe scripted CS. It's one immutable dictionary, immutable dictionary, immutable array. So where is that used? It gets us the localized descriptions associated with the scope. That's interesting. So we can do, there are two things we can do there. But I mean, two things I would mention there. So where is this thing? Oh, I believe I can open Visual Studio. And I use a church sometime. Am I up to date? Nope. See. OpenIddict scope. Yes. So let's look at this one. Where is it here? So I need to wait. This invoice to be loaded. See, it's doing its thing. It's done, so now I can find where it's used. So looking for it. I think the fact that I am sharing my screen makes it slower. Okay. Yeah. So this one, scope description equals name, but it's already initialized to something, so it's useless. Whatever. Return. Oh, what is that thing? Oh, that's the type item. That's useless. Because we have that. We just return. Otherwise, return the value task of scope descriptions. Okay, so this is to return descriptions. Open ID scope store. Oh, interesting. So the store implementation, or is it our own thing? Maybe not. So it has to be of this type. That's interesting. I might have done that. Descriptions, set description async, immutable dictionary, descriptions. Okay, so it's not used. So I can't say the two things I wanted to say with that example, but I will still say them. So here, immutable dictionary, the nice thing with immutable collection is that they can't be altered, so you can use them concurrently, because when a thread will use this collection, if you change that, you're actually returning another collection that has the changes. So you are not impacting the previous version of the collection. So every time you do a change on an immutable collection, you get a new collection with the changes. So you can work concurrently on the same thing, because you actually work on two different things. One problem you might have is that if you add an item to this collection, the other thread won't have it. Or if two threads add an item to this collection, then you don't know which of the item you will have in the final collection that you set again to this property. So you can lose items. So when you use immutable collections, you need to be aware of that. And usually it's because, let's say there is a cache, but if two items are added to the cache at the same time, only one will be taken into account. The next time you do the same thing, then it will be added again. So that's how it works. You are fine with not getting all the changes. Unless you use a very special feature, which is, and I don't think I remember the name, which is, let's see if I can type it somewhere. Is there a constructor here? Let's create a constructor, like a block of code that knows about that. You can do where is that? It's in the net 8. No, not just, no, I don't think it's just, no, it's not just in the net. But there is something that lets you interlock. It's like interlock that lets you update an actual immutable collection, the reference of it, to add an item with a lock. So it's like you can lock on this array, this collection, to add an item such that two threads will actually be locked. And when they are adding the thing or changing the immutable array, and this way you don't lose any value. So if you know that you're optimistic and you know that there won't be multiple threads adding the same thing, and you don't want to pay the price of losing an element, then you can, what is that? Oh, I don't know the name of the thing. Immutable collection. Immutable interval. Okay, that's what I want. So immutable interval dot, and then we can say try add, like on an immutable dictionary, and it takes a ref. So we will do description, and then we can say with the so here maybe it's a property, so it wants a field in this case. But if you had a field, then you could say the key you want is a culture info in this case, so this won't work with that example, and then the value. So this will add to the existing immutable collection an item without risking not getting all the concurrent adds. So that's something I didn't know about, immutable interval. And I believe we have quite a lot of usages of immutable collections. At least I know in SQL we have, and so probably also in Markdig core. And that could be a way to do things. The second thing I wanted to mention,
it's weird to call a collection immutable, but then provide a way to mutate it.
Yes, that's true. But actually, even today, without the mutable lock, you can mutate an immutable collection. It just gives you, it's immutable, so it just gives you a new one. So mutating means, oh, let's clone it and give you a different one with a new change. Yeah, but that's the name. Yeah, but that's very useful because there are some cases where you know that you want it to be immutable, and immutable has some perf characteristics also, which are that it's supposed to be faster because it can store the data in a way that it won't have to reorganize the nodes in the tree on the structure. So it's supposed to take less memory, for instance, or to be faster for iteration. So this can do some optimizations. And but then there is a new class in .NET 8, which is called frozen collection, so frozen dictionary, frozen list, probably. I don't know, but frozen dictionary for sure. And this class, they are optimized to be super fast at iterating and getting values, but you can't add anything. They are even more immutable than the immutable ones. You can only create new ones with items. You can't add items. So in this case, when you have description, you can do .to frozen dictionary in this case. And this will give you a dictionary that you can't change, but that will be super fast for iterating. So in .NET 8, some collections were transformed to use frozen dictionary. When you know that the collection can't be changed after, then you just change them to frozen dictionary. And this way it will be faster and take less memory. Examples, the routes, for instance, the structure that is managing the routes in MVC is now using the frozen dictionary because this collection doesn't change. You rebuild the routes and you have a new collection, like immutably, but now it's frozen dictionary, so it's faster. Maybe here, OpenIddict 5 should have used frozen dictionary for .NET 8 implementation because it's only available in the .NET.
So you said it's better in performance. So it's better because the hash table doesn't have to rehash when there's a collision.
Yes, there can be collisions there, and the structure can be optimized in a way that it's balanced all the time because it's done once. I don't know the implementation details, but it's faster for querying the data, for iterating the data, because the structure knows that it doesn't have to be changed later. And I think for arrays, it's not about balancing or organizing. It's just internally the data structure is better to iterate. It's called a frozen set in this case, not a frozen array. But so when we know that the thing should not change, it's done and done. Like for instance, these ones. Okay, like on startup, we create a list of things, and it won't change anymore. Just a restart can make it change. Then we should use a frozen collection. And we have lots of things like that. Let's say, for instance, the content parts, okay, that we create dynamically. We have a dictionary of them. But when we are done adding things, because all the modules have been called, we could say, okay, now let's freeze it and use a frozen dictionary to represent that. That could be something to do to optimize performance. It should not be done blindly, like, oh, let's apply frozen dictionary everywhere. But for the structures that we know that will never change, and we are doing a lot of lookups, that's worth it.
This might be helpful in the document, like site settings. We have a new property called as read only. So if it is read only, maybe it makes sense to use a frozen because the lookup will be faster.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I mentioned that because it's the .NET 8, and now we support the .NET 8 only. So things we can do. There are articles about frozen dictionary. Just to understand benchmarks. We don't need frozen immutable collections. It explains the new thing. Oh no, that's no article, but with a new. Yeah, that's the blog post we saw, but there must be an article. I think I remember we wrote it on the Model blog. Yeah, well, that's the one from Stephen Tubb, but that's the one from Renan, but for the that's the changes I mentioned after the SmtpSettings that converted some dictionaries to receive routing to use frozen dictionary. And there must be a link to the SmtpSettings blog that explains more things probably. So here are benchmarks with and without dictionary for the dictionary. You see, when you have 25 routes, like iterating and finding a route will take 21 nanoseconds. Now it's taken 7 nanoseconds. So you don't remember, but you see that's the kind of improvement. Same thing also, what we can do in the Net 8 is improve the regex. So there are improvement in terms of implementation, so they are faster. I'm not sure we use a lot of regexes, but we probably do have some. Now there is a notion of compiled regex, source code generated regex. So the compiled regex now can be source code generated. So they won't be compiled on startup, so it will take time when the application starts. But now they will be compiled during compilation. So when you start Orchard, they are already compiled. So it will improve the startup term. And I'm not sure we have some. We have some, well, in JavaScript, we don't care. JavaScript. I hope we have some not in JavaScript. Outside. Just JavaScript. It's crazy. Okay, we only have them in JavaScript, so problem solved. Oh, we have one here. Query provider. Now this is just one that will be created dynamically for the scene, so we can't even use that. That's interesting. So we don't use regex, but if in your code you use regex, you can use the code generator, regex code generator. It's an attribute to put on the regex like this, and then this thing will be already compiled and start. It's faster for startup. Probably also faster, maybe, I don't know, together. Okay, that's it. There's the first comments. Come back to our status. Update the docs, update OpenID version, interview, missing SMTP options. So support, password. Okay. Missing sync. This one also was interesting. Someone mentioned, so let's look at the issue because that's a common issue is let's see 4916. The issue that this one, someone mentioned that they are seeing NPG SQL operation provides issues. So 2 queries were sent on the same connection, which means 2 sessions from the SQL. Well, 2 threads were accessing the same session, and you are not allowed to do that. So what did I say? And it was during GraphQL, and they were doing content items that was resolving other content items. So when it's resolving one content item, you can assume a session will try to load the content item, and then it's also using the same session to load another content item. So if the 2 loads are done on the same thread at the same time, then that's an issue. We used to have that if the load was done in an async call that was not awaited, it would be in parallel. So that's the thing I told them to look into, like 2 calls that could use the same session. And they did that quite easily. They found out that when we resolve the property content item, we are resolving an I session and using that. And that was the issue. The result we see here was called in parallel for multiple content items. The result async was called by GraphQL. So two threads will then resolve the same session and use the same session, and there will be some concurrency issue. So by doing resolve locked async, then I assume GraphQL.net will just do one after the other. I'm putting a lot around that. That's what needs to be done. And then I wanted to understand in GraphQL what they were doing with resolve async and how they were looking at GraphQL. So I went to GraphQL.net. This one. And I searched for resolve async, and you can't find anything. And I searched on grep.app, and you can't find anything. And I'm like, what version are we on? We are on version 4.8, and the current version is 7.7 on GraphQL. So I believe that's the reason they removed this method. Doesn't exist anymore. That's why I can't find it. And I don't know. We have a node. I could look in the tag. I think I would have tags for the previous version. So if I look for the 4.8 version, then I could find it, but the search won't let me find it. I don't know what class it is. Object class type. No, resolve async. There is nothing there. I don't know where it is. Oh, I think which resolved async. We are using that in lots of places. I remember. Oh, this is our own stuff. Oh, okay, this is our own stuff. That explains. So resolve, and we have a lot of async field is over. I see. Yeah, I think I remember because they're data loaders, they are not locked, and I think we find issues with that. And telling them, I'm pretty sure we find some issues with that. That reminds me what the issue is actually. Because it's the data loaders. Yep, that's me. Yeah. So we are looking at ourselves. So like that, okay. Yeah, that was the issue. Data loaders that were concurrent, and we needed a look. I remember. Good. That makes sense. So I hope they fixed it in GraphQL. But that and actually tagging closing the type. Those plugins work at Microsoft, works at Microsoft in the Perf team. And I believe, well, Orchard Core is used in lots of places at Microsoft to do benchmarking, like Visual Studio, NuGet, ASP.NET, and they noticed that it was not working with the .NET 9. And I don't know why, because I'm running it every day in the .NET 9, But I believe it's not ready using the net9 because it should not be able to build. I'm confused. I don't know. I have to do some more testing. Maybe I'm messing up the framework references and still using the net8 and the net9 for the benchmarks. I don't know. So, but yeah, you notice that something was not building in the net9 because this type here, which is from Lucene, actually exists now in .NET. And there was a conflict because of the using. It's in the system namespace, and it's also in this namespace. So Shank suggested a different change that than Drew did, and now it's working. Lucene lock as a reference to an alias to Lucene net store lock. Okay, done. Topics, questions.
If you have time, I have a question. I submitted an issue and I fixed it, but it's kind of bothering me. 14917.
Issue or PR?
Issue. Well, it has a PR, but let's look at the issue. 14917.
I saw it, yeah. I didn't look at it.
And you're not sharing your screen in case you're.
I'm not. Since when?
I don't know. I don't see your screen.
When did it stop?
I have no idea. I wasn't looking.
But recently,
so,
right? Because
yeah, it's recently. So I think so we have a way. So the iUser claim provider allows us to, during a login, we're able to add custom claims to the session when the user logs in. However, if you're idle for 30 minutes, what happens is that the identity gets refreshed. When that happens, all the custom claims get lost. Yes. And it seems to be by design, by identity design. There's a PR to fix it, and I think the PR is valid, but why
I will close that.
What's bothering?
I don't want to look at it. I will just close it. So what's happening? What I think is happening is by default there is a cookie, session cookie that contains the claims. And if you don't do anything for 30 minutes, the cookie probably disappears, right? Is refreshed, right? Because there is no communication and there is always a delay for a cookie to keep alive. So probably 30 minutes in the default of Orchard Core or ASP.NET. And that can be changed, but that's 30 minutes. Or whatever timing is, there is a limit. And as you said, because it's stored in the cookie, if you lose the cookie, you lose all your claims.
But you don't lose the cookie. So there's a refresh, right? There's a setting in the refresh. If you say, hey, I want to keep it, more than 30 minutes, right? Because you can configure that.
Okay.
Correct. It should refresh, but what's bothering me, it doesn't really refresh with it. The refresh does not include the custom claims. I mean, if I create a session with 10 claims and the settings say to go ahead and refresh, it's okay, then the refresh should also consider my custom claims. The whole 10 claims should be included. Which is odd that it's not enabled by default in identity.
So let's see. Yeah, but I think there is another option, which is to change the token store. Because by default, the token store will use the cookie. But
yeah, and we have a token store that stores in Redis.
For instance, we could have one in database.
Yeah. Correct. But I don't think that's the issue. The issue is refreshing. It doesn't matter where the cookies are stored. During a refresh, we do not include any custom claims. I don't know why. So in here, the fix is to listen for that on refreshing principal event and then just include our custom ones to indeed fix the problem, because I've tested it.
Because the refresh doesn't store the custom claims. That's what you say. It refreshes.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't pick, hey, you should also take that. You forgot that. Don't just
Yeah, and I don't know why it's not by default. Why there is a decision not to include those by default? Sounds strange to me.
That's what we're doing. You see, we can merge all of them. So I probably what you're doing, maybe differently. One, new one, as claim, add claim. So this thing here, your for each add, if not has, you see in Braco they do just merge. This is exactly that.
Yes, yes, that is. It seems to be the exact same fix here. But my question is that why we actually have to do that?
But we have
an identity.
Because maybe some people don't want to do that, and you see exactly the same comment as you made, right? Set on the identity are persisted to the new identity when it's refreshed. So that's a feature / bug, like that's how it works. That's how it's supposed to do. So we are missing that, and you found it, and you fixed it. Good job. Defaults to 30 minutes, as you mentioned. What they are doing is that you can apparently configure it. They say to 30 seconds. I don't know what's the reason. I don't understand, but ensure quicker validation. Yeah, they remove the code. ADT, I click on ADT. Yep, they're almost the same as you, like, but the merge is better because that's what it does. Like they take all the ones that are not already there, they say, okay, add claims, same thing. And they picked it from identity server. Yep, so you found the bug and you fixed it. Good job. That explains. So that's nothing to do with what I thought, which was the reserving. Maybe it could have been that, but yeah. You say when it's refreshing, you should not use the custom ones. Okay, that's fine. Context. I will add some very important value to this one. Good. That we'll have to look into. Maybe not the way you did it, but we can do that. I have to. But Thursday there will be a triage. I will be there. No meeting next week. It's Christmas. But let's try to do some PRs on Thursday. We did all the issues on last Thursday, so we should be able to do much more PRs this Thursday. Other questions?
I'm good, thank you.
I will write your topic like on refresh what and refresh what. Awesome. Thanks everyone. See you.
Thank you.
Thursday. Bye.
Have a good day.
Bye bye.